Bismillah, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Our today's topic is how to configure IPv4 static route and default route in a small network. For this purpose, I have prepared a small network scenario here in which we will implement the static route and default route configuration. So first of all, you have to know that how we will configure the static route on router 1, on router 2 and on router 3. So for this purpose, first of all, we have to understand two types of networks here for each router. If we are talking about R1, that is this router, for this router there are two types of networks. The first type of network is called local networks, and local networks are those networks who are directly connected with this router. Like in R1, we can see here that we have two networks here. The first network is 192.168.10.0. This network, that is a LAN for router 1, and the second network that is connected with the router 2. So these two networks are local networks for router 1. And the second type is called remote network, where we want to send the packet from this network, from this router. Okay, so for that purpose we can say that the other networks, those are not directly connected with the router 1 but connected with the router 2 or router 3. Those are the remote networks for router 1. Like in this scenario, you can see these two are local networks, and other three networks, those are connected with R2, the network that is 192.168.20.0. this is first network, that is a remote network for R1. The other network 172.162.0, that is also a remote network for R1. And 192.168.30.0, this is the third network, that is a remote network for R1. We have to keep this point in our mind that we will configure for each and every remote network static route in router 1. Okay, so how many networks we have, how many routes we have to configure in R1, that is connected with R2. The first network is this network, that is a LAN for R2. The second network that is connected from R1 to R2 to R3, and the third network that is connected with R3, that is a LAN for the R3. Okay, so these three are the remote networks. So similarly, we have to understand that what are the remote networks for R2. So the R2 has three local networks, those are directly connected with R2. These three networks are local networks for R3, that is going upside, that is a LAN for the R2. The R2 the link that is going towards the R1, this is also a local network. The link that is going towards R3, this is also a local network. So for R2 there are two remote networks. The first network that is connected with R1, okay, this is a remote network for R2, and the other network that is connected with R3, that is the remote network for R2. Similarly for R3, we have like R1, we have same three networks, remote networks, and we will configure the static route for all these three networks in R1 and R3. Okay, for R3 you can see here that these two are local networks, R3 to R2, and the network that is connected directly with the R3, that is the LAN for the R3. These are local networks. The other three networks, the upper side on R2, okay, the R2 towards R3, this link, this is a network that is a remote network for R3, and from R1 that is the LAN for the R1, that is also a remote network for R3. So we will configure the static route for all these remote networks. Okay, understand? Now we will start configuration in Cisco Packet Tracer. First of all, as we can see that we need 3 routers, 3 switches and 3 computers for our scenario. So we are going to take all these devices in Cisco Packet Tracer. As we know that we will click on these network devices, and then we will click on routers, and then we will take any one router from these all routers. Okay, so I am selecting the 2911 router. Okay, this is R1, that we have taken R1, R2 and R3. Just you have to drag and drop in the workspace. Then we need 3 switches, so I am dragging 3 switches from here, that is connected with all these 3 routers. Then we need the end devices, the computers, so you will click on end devices and you will find all end devices here, and then you will take the PCs for each network. So we will take 3 PCs here. Now we will connect all these devices with each other. So in the scenario, in our given scenario that is I have prepared for you, is we need the serial interfaces from R1 to R2 and R2 to R3. So first of all we will check that our router has the serial interfaces or not. Okay, let me show you that here we have only gigabit interfaces in our router, but we need the serial interface. So for this purpose, what we will do, we will go to the physical tab here, we will switch off the router, and then we will take this HVIC2T, 2 serial interfaces, and we will insert it here. Okay, and then we will switch it on. Then we will close this router, we will go to the other router. Again we will repeat the same scenario here. We will switch off the router, we will click on it, and you can drag from here. You can see here there is the module, that is serial module. We will insert it here, and then we will switch it on, and again we will go to the third router and we will switch it off, and we will take HVIC2T, this module, and we will insert on the first port of the router, and then we will switch it on. Then now you can see that we have the serial interfaces in our routers. Here you will go to the config tab, and here you will find serial 0/0/0 and serial 0/0/1. These interfaces we have, these modules we have added in all our routers because it is our requirement. Now we will go to the links, that is the connection here, and here we will get the serial interface, and you will take serial DCE from here. Okay, just click on serial DCE and then click on serial 0/0/0 from this side, and on the other side also serial 0/0/0, and then from here, from router 2, serial 0/0/1, and here also I am taking serial 0/0/1. Okay, so I have connected all these 3 routers with each other. Now I will have to connect the switch with the router. So I will take the straight through cable, okay, copper straight through cable, and I will connect gigabit 0/0/0, and on the other side in the switch I will connect, you can connect any port from the switch here. Okay, and then from the switch you can take any port and you will connect it with the PC. Similarly we will repeat the scenario for all the devices. Okay, here I will connect all devices here for the remaining network. Okay, so from router 3, that is I have not given yet the names of the router, so I will give the names to the routers. So I have connected all the devices. Okay, I have connected all these devices with each other, right? So this was router 1. So what I will do, I will write here R1. Okay, and this is router 2. I will change the name on the routers in the scenario, and this is R3. Okay, so these are 3 routers that we have in our scenario. Now what we will do, we will go to the routers first, and then we will configure the IP addressing. Is I have given the IP addressing in my lab. Okay, here in the scenario I have given the IP addressing. So R1 is having this IP address, class B IP address 172.168.1.1 on serial interface with the subnet mask 252. Okay, with the subnet mask /30, as it is given here in the scenario. I have already given here /30 here. Okay, R1 and this is the serial interface 0/0/0, and /30 means 252 subnet mask. Okay, as you know the subnetting, so we have given here the subnet mask. So now I'm going to the R1 and I will start configuration on R1. Click on CLI and then you have to write here no. Okay, for this message, would you like to enter the initial configuration dialog? So you will write here no. Now you will enter here and write here the enable command. Okay, and then we will go to the global configuration mode, that is configure terminal. Okay, here we will go to the interface that we have, interface serial 0/0/0 that we have connected from R1 to R2. So I will write here interface serial 0/0/0 and IP address as we have in our lab. The IP address was 172.16.1.1 with subnet mask 255.255.255.252. Okay, the subnet mask. Then we will write, don't forget to write this command no shutdown here, because by default all the interfaces are disabled, and for enabling the interfaces we have to write this command no shutdown. Okay, now you can see when I have written no shutdown, it is saying that the state of the interface is changed. Okay, right, now we have another interface in this router, so we have to exit from here and we will go to the interface gigabit 0/0 and then press enter, and we will write here IP address, and we will check what is the IP address here. 192.168.10.1. Here you can see if it is fast Ethernet 0/0, but I have taken gigabit 0/0, so I have given the IP address on gigabit interface 0/0. Okay, 192.168.10.1, 192.168.10.1 with subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and don't forget to run no shutdown command. Okay, now you can see here this one becomes green, that it is enabled. Okay, and you are also thinking about it that why it is not green, because the other side of this network is disabled. When we will enable this side, this interface on router 2, then it will become enabled. Okay, now we have configured two IP addresses here. Just Control Z, press Control Z button and write WR. One thing we have to do here is that the first command that we have to configure is that we will change the name of the router. So the name of the router is R1. For this we have command host name R1 and press enter. You can see here the host name is changed. Now you will configure WR. You will write you will write the command WR that will save your configuration. Okay, now we will close this router interface, and now we will go to the router 2. Again we are here in router 2, write enable. Okay, and then you have to write configure terminal. For the global configuration mode, the first thing that we have to change the name of the router, that is R2. Okay, then we will go to the interface serial 0/0/0. Okay, the IP address that we have 172.16.2.1. Okay, as we can see here it is given R2 serial 0/0/0 sorry 0/0/0 is 1.2. Okay, this side is this side of the router, this side is 1.1, so it will be 1.2. Okay, so 172.16.1.2, because we have /30 and /30 has only two IP addresses, so 255.255.252, and then no shutdown. Now you will see that when I will write no shutdown, these both will become enable. Okay, now we will go to the this gigabit interface. Okay, exit from here, and then you will go to the interface giga 0/0, and IP address is 192.168 168.20.1 with 255.255.255.0 and no shutdown command should be here. Okay, right. Now we have third interface on this router, that is this one, that is going towards the R3. Okay, so I will exit from here and then I can write interface serial 0/0/1. Okay, one more command you can write here. You can write the description of this interface, you can write the with the description command. Okay, you can see description. I can write here R1 R2 to R3. Okay, this is a description command you can use. When you will go to this interface, then you will find that this interface is going from R2 to R3. Okay, and now I will give the IP address here. IP address 172.16.2.1 with subnet mask 255.255.255.252. okay, and don't forget no shutdown command. Okay, right, here our configuration is finished. Now we will save this configuration and we will go to the router 3 and we will configure the router. No enable. Okay, configure terminal. Right, the first is host name R3. Right, then we will go to the interface serial 0/0/1 and we will give the IP address with the same same class IP address 172.16.2.2 with 255.255.255.252, and you can see again when I will write here no shutdown, it will be enabled. Okay, it is enabled now. These all interfaces are enabled, only the gigabit 0/0 interface is disabled. Okay, now we will go to the interface giga 0/0 and we will configure the IP address 192.168.30.1 with 255.255.255.0 subnet mask and no shutdown. Okay, now we have configured all the IP addresses on our 3 routers. Okay, Control Z, WR, and now we will go to the PCs and we will configure the IP addresses here. Okay, on this side, as we know that it is given there that this network is the IP address 168.10.0/24. okay, yani this is our network here. Right, now we will go to the router to the PC1, that is not PC1, it is the PC0 it is given here. I will go to the desktop tab. Okay, these are different tabs here. Now I will go to the IP configuration and I will configure here IP address with the same network. Okay, 192.168.10.1 is given here, so I'm given here, let's say I'm giving here 10. Okay, and then the subnet mask the same, but we have to configure the default gateway. The default gateway for this PC is the IP address of this interface, where we have given 192.168.10.1 IP address we have given here. So we will write the default gateway here 192.168.10.1. okay, so it is configured. Close it, go to the PC2 and repeat the same scenario. Desktop IP configuration with the same network address, that is 192.168.20.1 was the IP address of the router's interface, so that will be the default gateway .168.20.1, and we will close it. Okay, go to the PC, the third PC that is connected with R3. Again repeat the same scenario, and here we have 192.168.30.10 and 192.168.20.1. 30.1, that is the IP address of this interface. Okay, got it? This is the default gateway. Now we have configured all IP addressing on all our devices. It is necessary, first of all, before going to configure any network, you have to prepare an IP table. As you can see, I have prepared the IP table here in the lab. Okay, so this IP table will help you to when you are going to configure the devices. Okay, so the first thing is you have to prepare, you have to know that what are the devices here, what are the devices used in the network, and then you have to prepare an IP table for that, for all these devices, and then you will configure the IP addressing, and later on you will configure the other configuration on the devices. So now we will go to the router 1, and as I told you in the beginning that we have 3 remote networks for our R1. Okay, we have 3 remote networks for R1. So what are those networks? This network, right, the second network, and the third network. So we will configure for all these 3 networks the routing here. Okay, the static routing we will configure here. So again, go to the configure terminal, right, and here we will configure the routing on global configuration mode. So for that purpose we are using the command IP root. This is a command that we are using for static root, IP root. Then we will write the destination network address. The first destination is this one, and we know that the network address is 192.168.20.0. this is the destination network address. After that you will write here the subnet mask of this network. Okay, as we know that the subnet mask of this network is 255.255.255.0. okay, then there are 2 ways to configure the static root. The first is you will write the exit interface, that is the from R1, this is the exit interface. Okay, that is serial 0/0/0, or you can write the next hop address, that is the address of the router 2, where you are going from router 1 to router 2, that is the next hop address. So the next hop address will be here. We will use this way, this method, next hop address, that is 172.16.1.2. okay, and then we will press enter. This is first route we have configured for first remote network. The second remote network is this network. Okay, and the same scenario we will revise, we will repeat the same scenario. IP route, okay, 172.16.2.0 is the network address. Okay, with the subnet mask 255.255.255.252, and the next hop address remains same. Next hop address remains same because there is only one way to reach to router 3. There is no other way from router 1 to router 3 except this route. Okay, so the next hop will always, for all 3 destinations, for all 3 remote networks, the next hop remains same. Okay, so that is 172.16.1.2. okay, and the third network is IP route 192.168.30.0 with subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and the next hop address is 172.16.1.2. okay, so we have configured here all these 3 routes, okay, for 3 remote networks. So we will press Ctrl Z button and then WR for saving the configuration. Now we will close this router interface from here, and we will go to router 2, and now we will do the same for router 2. As we have studied in the beginning that we have 2 remote networks for router 2, so we will configure 2 times the static route, IP route. Okay, IP route, and the first network is this one and the second network is this one. Both lanes for the R1 and R2 are the remote networks for R2. So IP route 192.168.10.0 with subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and From here, next hop address is this one. Okay, for this network, for R1's network, the next hop is the IP address of R1's serial interface, that is 172.16.1.1. okay, this is the next hop address for towards R1. From R2 towards R3, the next hop address will be the R3 serial interface address. Okay, so the next route will be 192.168.30.0 with subnet mask 255.255.255.0 with 172.16.2.2 is the subnet, is the next hop address. This is 2.1 and this is 2.2. so this is the next hop address. Okay, so we have configured, press Ctrl Z, WR and close R2. For R3 we will configure the default route. As I told you in the beginning that we will configure the static route and default route. So the default route means the any route that we don't know the destination. In case of static route, we know the destination address. We know that these are three destinations from R1. And these are three destinations, this network, this network and this network, but we can say that we don't know the destination networks. So what we will do, we will configure the default route here. Okay, usually this default route is configured when your router is connected to the internet router. Okay, then we are configuring the default route because it is beneficial in that case, because we don't know what is the destination. We don't know the google.com, yahoo.com, any URL addresses we don't know. So we are using the default route there in our small network scenario. But here we know that we know that there are three remote networks, but we are configuring the default route that we have to understand in this lab about the default route. So for the default route, we will go to the configuration mode, and here we will write the same command IP route, but we will write, instead of destination network address, we will write 0.0.0.0. 0.0.0.0 means any network, any destination. We are sending the packet towards any destination network. Okay, and then we will, instead of writing the subnet mask, again we will write 0.0.0.0. it means that any network address with any subnet mask, okay, that is your destination, right? And then we are using the third, as I told you in the beginning, where we have two methods to configure the static route or default route. The second method was the exit interface. So I am using here for the default route exit interface. So the exit interface for R3 is serial 0/0/1. This is the exit interface from R3. Okay, right, got it? So I will configure this one here and then press enter. Okay, and this default route is configured. Press WR. Now we will check, verify that how our routing table, we will check our routing table that all the routes are present in all these three routers or not. So for that purpose we are going to R1, and here we will write show IP route command. This command will show us the IP table, the routing table of the routing table of the R1. Here you can see, now we must have all the networks in this routing table. The first network is this network that I have written here in the Cisco Packet Tracer also, 192.168.10.0. that is 10.0 is this one. Okay, this is directly connected with R1. Okay, so the second network that is directly connected or local network is 172.16. You can see connected 172.16.1.0. this is directly connected. Okay, now we will check that this network 192.168.30.0 20.0 and this network this one, this is 20.0, this is 30.0 and this is 172.162.0. so we will check 172.162.0. this is the 20.0, that is S means static, okay, and here 30.0. You can see we have configured 3 remote networks, and these 3 remote networks are all with the S. This S shows us that this is the static route. Here you can see S means static, so this is the static route. We have configured 3, this one 2.0, we have configured 192.168 at 20.0, 192.168 at 30.0. okay, so our routing table is correct here. Now we will go to R2 and we will check the same here, show IP route, okay, and here we will check 172.161.0 is there, okay, that is connected, and local is 172.161.2, that is the IP address of 1.2 is the IP address of this interface, okay. Then this is also connected, and now we have static route configured 10.0, this network, 20 is the local one, and then we have configured the second route 30.0. all these 3 are here, okay. Now we'll go to the router 3, and here we will check show IP route, and here we will find, you can see that S static. This S static means default route, okay. It is given here, static route and default route. Let me show you here. Default, where is default? This one, static candidate default, okay, right. So this is the default route that is configured here, got it. Now we will check verify the ping from PC, the first PC towards the other PCs. I will write ping. First of all, I will ping my own default gateway, that is 192.168.10.1. you can see it is pinging, right. The default gateway from this PC to this one is pinging. It's fine, it means that this network is fine. Now I'm going to ping my other network 192.168.20.1. you can see it's also working, it's pinging from here, okay. Then I will check 30.0, the third network, that is here, this network. So my all networks are working here from the first, from R1, okay. Let me close it, and you can also check in the Cisco Packet Tracer. There is one advantage that you can send the packet directly from here to any other device, and if it is successful, it means it is pinging, okay. As you can see, it is successful from here. Also we will check from here to here, and it is successful. Now I will check from this PC to this PC, and it is successful, okay. Now I will check from this PC to the third one, and it is successful. So my whole network is working here. It means that my static and default routing is configured correctly, okay. I hope you understand very well the static route and the default route or routing in Cisco Packet Tracer, okay. Thank you very much. See you inshallah next time in the next video.